Hello, this is your Mystic Messenger with an inspirational message for you today. It's a beautiful day here at Mount Shasta. Now that you are seeing how corrupt the system that we're living in is, you're probably wondering what you could do to bring about change. I have created a series of videos to provide some suggestions. This is part 4. Check out parts 1 through 3 if you haven't already. Hi, I'm Dr. Christina, author of Evolving Consciousness. With the recent release of information regarding the horrific actions perpetrated by those running the system, this is confirming what some of us have known for a very long time, that the entire system is corrupt and morally bankrupt. The good news is this information is serving to wake more of the population out of their cognitive dissonance, which will likely lead to some well-needed changes. In this video, I will explain how subconscious patterns of how we relate to each other, which I refer to as control dramas, keep us hooked into the system. Control dramas are patterns of relating with others which are learned in childhood and largely embedded in the subconscious mind. I'll explain how this happens. When we interact with others, a dynamic inherently occurs whereby there's an opportunity for an energetic exchange. Based on learned patterns, we sometimes take from or give energy to others. We have all experienced situations when we've either felt drained or uplifted based on interactions we experienced from another person. So during our formative years, because most of our parents were imperfect, they learned how to maneuver the world seeking additional energy from other people, including us, which are called control dramas and range from passive to aggressive forms of obtaining energy. Additionally, we all have subconscious feelings of vulnerability and inadequacy. And unless we have worked on this, we look to external factors to satisfy these needs. We sometimes seek out ways to overcompensate and sometimes even externalize feelings of angers onto others, which can manifest in physical abuse, prejudice, hate crimes, and the need to control others. Depending on the control drama used by our parents and our innate temperament, we adopt our own tactic of defending against and gaining energy, which becomes embedded in our subconscious. This plays out in our relationships as well as our systems that we live in, because our hierarchical system is based on control and power dynamics. There is a concept that I label the bully-victim paradigm to explain this. Because of our experiences, we sometimes believe that there are only two positions in the world, either the bully or the victim. When we take the bully position, we externalize our anger onto others, control or exploit others in order to make ourselves feel more powerful. The bully will then attract someone who has learned how to take the victim stance. We see this in so many aspects in our lives. And we allow this dynamic to continue because we are conditioned in childhood to engage in this way. We then seek this out because on some level it's familiar, and we do not question it within our systems. There are so many examples in which this bully-victim paradigm manifests in our lives. For example, a business owner who hasn't resolved their childhood trauma will likely control, manipulate, and exploit their employees. An employee who hasn't resolved their trauma will allow this dynamic and feel stuck in the situation. Individuals with narcissistic tendencies will utilize control dramas as well as other dysfunctional ways of relating with others. Narcissistic tendencies are created in early childhood to defend against feelings of inadequacy. Those with high narcissistic tendencies have a fragile sense of self, which leads to an overestimation of self-importance, a lack of empathy for others, and a tendency to view others as objects. Within many of our systems, such as government and corporate structures, the prevalent dysfunctional dynamic that is playing out is this bully-victim paradigm, because research has shown that people with narcissistic tendencies tend to gravitate toward positions of power. However, there's a third position, not to engage in either role, and to learn how to satisfy our own emotional needs. An evolved person learns how to navigate relationships without being a bully, which means not desiring to have power or control over others, imposing one's values on others, or manipulating others to satisfy emotional needs. An evolved person also learns how to let go of this victim consciousness and set boundaries with others, communicate assertively, and embodies sovereignty and empowerment. If we want to begin making some significant changes to our world, it's imperative for us to examine how we relate to others and get out of these control dramas. If you're interested in learning more, please make sure to like and follow me, and check out my videos and my book, Evolving Consciousness, for more information. Sending you lots of love and light from the heart of Mount Shasta.